Can someone confirm that you are able to see my presentation?
Yeah, we are able to see Ajad. Yeah.
Perfect. Good afternoon once again. Thanks to everyone for joining me this afternoon. My plan is to cover some of the most important topics for secure financial future. And today and next week, I'll be talking about retirement planning. Today's session, I'll be covering mostly at a macro level and what are the aspects that impact our retirement at a higher level. And next week, I'll be specifically talking about how to come up with your own bulletproof retirement plan, covering for all kinds of events and unexpected scenarios. Now let's try. This is me for people who do not know and for the first time joining. My name is Chandrasekhar Azad, and I'm from Hyderabad. I did my master's and MBA from Osmania University. I did double major in computers from Institute of Public Enterprise. I was in New India Assurance for a long time in a senior position. I was posted as country manager to Mauritius, but then came here 20 years back because my wife was in IT computers, and we thought we can pursue the path which is easy rather. So I was in the IT field for quite some time, for 16 years to be precise. My last assignment was in city of San Francisco as ERP operations manager. For the last 4 years, I've been on my own and doing real estate. And in the last couple of years, I started doing this, what is most passionate to me, the financial subject and how to secure our future and what are the aspects that we need to cover. So that's the brief intro. First and foremost, I need to get this out of the way. This presentation and all the topics that I'll be covering in multiple sessions is purely for the educational purposes. This presentation is personal opinion expressed by me and other presenters and is purely an exchange of ideas for educational purposes. Nothing presented in this session should be taken as a professional advice either to invest, divest, or take any financial decisions. Please consult your tax and financial advisor before you take any action. This information is for broadening one's understanding and exchange of ideas. Now, we are all locked down, and I'm trying to do what most interests me, passionate I'm about, sharing the information. But here are the frightening stats. We just crossed about 40,000 deaths this today, and we are globally in a lockdown situation. Let's try to do what is right for ourselves, for family, and for the society in general. These are some of the things which we are advised to do. Let's stay home and do not go out unnecessarily. I know all of us are doing the right thing. Keep fit, whether it's yoga or exercise, whatever. Wash your hands, as mundane as it is. That is the most important thing that is being repeated by almost every doctor, every professional, medical. And then, of course, hydrate yourself, hydrate with warm water, add vitamins C, D, and all, and spend time with family, connect, and catch up all that you want to on the TV or otherwise. Now, today's topic, retirement planning. Why do we need to plan? I don't think our forefathers did any such planning. The society was different, and there were not so many. It was not such a global integrated society. There were not such dangers. They were mostly self-sufficient. And from there, we are here right here because we're in a global society where some action somewhere is leading to untold kind of horrors across the globe. Now, when the Great Depression happened in 1930s, United States took some major steps to ensure that such things don't happen again and to ensure the safe retirement. We have come up with Social Security. But what happened in the last 70, 90 years is original anticipation of life expectancy of 67 is now about 87 to 92. And initially, most of the people were having pensions, either it is government or corporate. That pensions have almost disappeared, except at few locations, few places. Social Security itself in danger of falling short on the promise. So that leaves that one leg that is we have to depend on, that is the savings. How well we can, what do you call, plan, how strong that the stool can be without that pension, the third leg. That's what we have to focus on. How do we replace the third leg? How do we ensure that we are not in what do you call, in a dire situation in retirement? You must have seen when you go to Walmart that there are so real old people working. Why? Because they are not able to take care, because the situation is such that they are not protected. That's what this planning effort is, this education purpose is. Now, let's see what is going on at macro level. Macroeconomic indicators are all flashing red. You are already aware, but I'll quickly go through some of those. What are they? This is the internal debt of United States. Just less than about 12 years, we have exploded the internal debt from about $8 trillion to today about 24.5. And thanks to all the stimulus that is being pumped into the market by the government, by the Fed, we are going to see $30 trillion in less than a year from now. Now, what does that make? Like, why do we need to worry about it? We need to worry about it because there's no such thing as a free lunch. Somebody has to pay for it. Whether we are paying it or our kids are paying it. All this, whatever debt we are piling up, it needs to pay it, whether it is internal to our own people or to the external entities, governments, companies, whatever. So those treasury bonds which we buy, which companies buy, which countries buy, like China has, for example, $2 trillion plus, we need to be honoring. Last year, we paid about $800 billion in interest payments, just interest servicing. So it is very huge and very important that we focus on that. Now, our society as such has become a leveraged society. Anything like in olden days, in my grandparents' time, and in fact, even my parents' time, there was no such thing as you borrow and buy. But here we are, we have to live our lives, and the society and the economic systems have evolved so that you can buy it, and now money has become cheap, so you pay it. That's nothing wrong with it. But the problem comes when we are not able to manage this debt. So this is how it is looking at. Every segment of the society is borrowing at higher, including governments. Now we are reaching debt levels that are historic in nature. After Second World War, we have come out of Great Depression, and we had Second World War, and then we started building great infrastructure across the country. So at that time, our internal debt was huge, but our taxation was also huge. Right now, our internal debt is reaching those historic proportions. But interestingly, our tax rates are historically low. So you can draw the correlation, like what is going on, what is going to happen in future. It is just that the gap is widening, and we can't afford the dollar or the macroeconomy, like US economy, to go the way the underdeveloped countries have gone. So there has to be, the gap has to be bridged. That means the taxation will be huge. How do we plan? If we do not have enough money in retirement, the inflation and those taxes are going to come and hurt us badly. As we can see from this, we were able to pay a little bit of down the mortgage debt over the last 10 years after the great bubble burst. But then we are piling up on student debt and other debts. As in total, the debt levels are quite high. Now, as I said, the 62, I mean, in 1930s, 62 was the Social Security age, and 67 was the life expectancy. We were able to manage 5 years, that's no problem. And more people were joining the workforce. But today, we are living longer and longer, as I already mentioned. Couples living all the way to 97, 92. Individuals, if you are living alone, based on the current tables, it is about 82 plus. Here is the great, I don't know how many of you, Social Security stopped sending letters. If you have logged in and checked, you can know what kind of benefits that you are likely to get. And there is a caution there which says the Social Security, the benefits are expected to expire, or the trust fund is expected to exhaust by 2035. What does that mean? Then the money as it comes in needs to be paid out. And based on the current projections, only about 75% will be meeting the benefits. That means two things. Either we need to pay more taxes, or they'll be pushing this retirement age further down, or we need to make good with the 75%. So the bottom line is we have to be prepared not to receive 100% Social Security benefits, which you see on the your benefits page. You reduce it by 25% and then account for taxes. This COVID is not helping. You know that 16 million people have filed for unemployment benefits. What does that mean? That means all those people have stopped paying payroll taxes. Not just that, all those companies and small business owners, they are given a 2-year holiday on payroll taxes. What does that mean? That additional money is not coming. And tomorrow, if they come back into the business and they thrive, they have about 2 years to pay. But otherwise, if they don't, then that's again a big question. So that is going to exacerbate Social Security benefits as such. So this is at the macro level. It's clear that the landscape is changing, that we are piling up more debt, Social Security in danger, pensions have disappeared. So what do? Sometime back, the safe and secure retirement, which was guaranteed, is not guaranteed anymore. And if we want to live a peaceful, secure, retired life, we have to be prepared and we have to put a plan in place. A lot of us we are doing good job. Most of us are wealth accumulators. We have some idea, but then there are lots of areas that we are not aware of it. We are not paying attention. Let's first look at the macro level today. Now, these are 7 principles I came across, and it's very valid principles. And in order to generate sufficient retirement cash flow, keep this in mind. You have to make your money last. As long as we live, in fact, we don't believe in just consuming to ourselves, but we would like to leave a legacy. So we need to ensure that. Now, diversify. In previous sessions, I did cover about diversification, what needs to happen, what are the different strategies. We need to ensure that we diversify our assets and there's enough cash flow from different sources. Now, your long-term plan needs to be divided into smaller chunks so that we can easily manage. In fact, it is recommended that after the retirement, for about 2 years cash flow, you need to have it in a liquid cash flow, which is easily accessible, which is not affected by the market forces. Then you have a 5-year short-term growth plan, which can be in 50-50 debt and equity instruments. Then you have a 10-year longer horizon, and probably you can take more of a little bit of more risk in investing at a higher percentages in equity markets. Now, remember, do not just because we talk about income in retirement, if you just focus purely on that right from when you are young, then you don't want to compromise the growth just to ensure 2-3% of the. So it's always about overall distributed planning, comprehensive planning. Taxes are going to be huge. As I already showed you, taxes. It is going to be real huge deal, whether we like it or not. And Social Security benefits, which I showed you, is in danger and shrinking. Of course, we have to ensure there is additional guaranteed source of income in light of diminishing Social Security. Now, your retirement plan depends on what? It depends first and foremost on how long a retirement you envision. What does that mean? It means basically looking at yourself. What is your age? And what's your health profile? What's your family health profile? What's the history? Like your grandparents lived to 90s, 100s, or what is that? But compared to them, we are in a better society, better living well, healthier lifestyles. Medicine is advancing. So always, err on the caution side, planning for longer. And that are again risk profile part of it. Profile is including not just your health, but also your risk taking ability part of it. Are you really, do you lose mind over what do you call a dip, natural dips, or you are peaceful based on the plan you put in place? So again, that defines you how much risk you are comfortable taking. And again, depending on your time horizon, you will have to what do you call decide on the risk profile. Again, as I showed you here, in a second we'll be looking at, we are living together as a family, and so we'll be living longer. So plan together. It doesn't make any sense that one partner has all the knowledge but unable to translate that to the other partner, and you want to go and invest in this long-term horizon, but the other partner says, what are you talking about? Don't you want to live life and you want to stash away entire money in some long-term future? I don't know about it. So it needs to be, partners need to be in sync. We need to be in sync. That is, I can't more emphasize on that. It's always about doing planning together so that we can live longer, happy together. Now, all of us should take a minute and go. There's a lot of tools that are available, socialsecurity.gov, ssa.gov, so that we can go ahead and any age you plug in based on the current trends, based on actuarial tables, it will give you some number. Not necessarily that it is going to, but it is a general based on actuarial tables and demographics. They give you certain number. And this is how it looks like. If you are 65 today, the chances of hitting 75 is 97% if you are living together as a family, as a couple. And to 80, it is 90%. To all the way at 95 years, you have a 20% chance. So this shows you, you plug in your number and then see how many years you have. So you essentially have to plan minimum for the time for your retirement egg to last, to ensure that you have dependable income into those years, actually far beyond them. Now, just a quick look at today's inflation, for example, at about 3%, and normally recommended about 3 to 5%. If I need, if I have paid off everything, my mortgage is clear, I own my home 100%, and I have planned well, but I need about 5,000 to live with today. Just in 10 years, I need 80,000, from 60 to 80,000 in just, and in about 30 years, the lifespan, which we anticipate about say 146,000, more than double. So that is what we are talking about. Again, did you what do you call, save enough so that your nest egg will last the what do you call, recommended withdrawal 3 to 5%, at have this projection so that you know where you're doing, how you're doing. If not, in fact, couple of family after family, when I'm doing this analysis and all, too less is saved in retirement planning, whether it is tax deferred category or tax exempt category. A lot of us are focused on just the brokerage account, putting money there and trying to do. As a result, your long-term planning is going to be in danger. Now, you know that some of the categories of goods and services are much more growing at faster rate than others. This one is very interesting. Look at those electronic items and others, basic necessities. Not bad at all. So actually, some of them have significantly, what do you call, cheaper compared to what they were. But look at those, what is needed. Healthcare, the topmost, whether it is hospital services, whether it is nurse, what do you call, a college tuition, I mean, educate. So these are the two, college education and healthcare, significantly higher. They are growing at about estimated 6 to 6.5% inflation, more than double that of your ordinary inflation, your living expenses. So as we age, what is one cost that is significantly growing? Healthcare. And if it is growing at 6%, it's not enough. If we have enough to live, it's not enough to what do you call, your day-to-day expenses. We need to budget those what do you call, healthcare expenses. I was joking yesterday about this I was attending some other session, and the gentleman coughed a couple of times and said, I promise I don't have anything. I'm perfectly fine. The small irritation in the throat. So I'm saying the same, declaration to you guys. I'm perfectly fine. A little bit of itchy throat. Now, as we age, healthcare costs are going up, and long-term care is going to be that ticking time bomb. Most of us are not aware of what it is. I have a complete full session on that, what it is, what needs to happen, how we can protect ourselves. Be tuned, and when you come across, please attend that. Now, it is imperative that we put a sound investment plan in order to secure our retirement. You have to decide what is your investment objective. Again, that covers that how long you foresee your retirement to, and what kind of growth that you need in order to meet those objectives. And do you want to just be sufficient, like consume it, or if you are able to survive, is that enough? Or you want to leave a legacy either for your kids or for your favorite charity? Decide on that. So, and also know your risk profile, just financially, health-wise, and more importantly, emotionally, psychologically, and what kind of lifestyle you envision. I live in a big, huge house. Tomorrow, do I visualize myself to be living here, or I'm okay to downsize? So that defines again whether I need 10,000 right now to targeted at inflation rate of about 3.5%, or if I'm able to downsize, maybe I need only 5,000, so it is much more comfortable. So that's very important. Are you willing to downsize? Now, do you plan to retirement? When people were asked, those people who were working, this is what all those people who are working in retirement, when they were asked, 42% of them are working to meet their need, basic ends meet. 13% of them are working because of insurance, medical insurance, and 23% because they're scared, they're running short, and their retirement incomes, a portfolio is going to, exhaust. And the other people, about 90% of them who do not have to work, they said they want to be active, and 82% of those said they enjoy working, whatever field that is, whether it is medical profession or whether it is any of the, if they like, that's the best way. You enjoy working, that way you're staying fit and active, and that's the best thing. And of course, 67% of people said, yes, we have those higher, we want to travel, we want to enjoy the life and all, so additional source of income doesn't hurt. That's why we are working, even though we don't have to work. Now, we may be forced to make adjustments in the absence of a strong retirement plan. So if we do not have the guaranteed income, what do we need? We should be prepared. Actually, we may be forced to downsize. I may be forced to go into a one-bedroom apartment. I may be forced to, do a lot of downsizing. And I may be forced to cut down. I love to go at least once a week to a movie and eating out. I may not be able to do it if I don't have the income source. And I like to travel and tourism. I may not be able to do that. Then we may have to work for additional income, and also insurance is going to be. I'll show in just a bit how huge that medical insurance is going to be. Now, as a result of this macro situation, the onus is on the families. Gone are the times that we could safely say it is company's responsibility to give me pension, or it is a government responsibility to ensure that Social Security will take care of me. We have seen how pensions have disappeared. We have seen how Social Security is diminishing. As a result, we have to do our own planning. Healthcare costs is the most important thing. Healthcare costs and long-term care costs are difficult to determine. That is the landmine. We do not know how and what is going to happen, whether it is going to be a regular care or are you in for some surprise. Then what about only 1 in 4 have a pension and retiree healthcare benefits? As I said, very few companies are giving retirement, not just a pension, but medical care benefits in the retirement. As a result, we have to be on our own. I'll show you in a bit how Medicare is not sufficient and we need to do additional planning. And Social Security, we already talked about. So remember this, other risk. Remember these other risks that can impact your retirement. Longevity. I plan for 70, but I have good genes and I live to 90. In fact, in one of the surveys, when people were asked, what do you fear? Do you fear death or do you fear running short on the money, living longer? People said, 61% said they fear not having enough money in the old age. And market volatility, we have seen this. 2008, we thought is behind us, we'll not be able to, and we may see some correction, but we never thought something like this COVID across the globe, unthinkable, can shut down the entire globe and trillions of dollars of wealth evaporated just like that. And even the governments are doing their best, pumping a lot of money to support. It's not that easy for once a company, once a business falls sick, to bring back to life. So some of them may not be able to, we may not be able to resuscitate. They may just go. So that is the reality. So when that happens, if I'm at the verge of retirement, how am I going to survive? If my depleted dollars are withdrawn for living, then what happens is that money is not there when the markets come back. So we need to talk about that. We need to plan for that. Inflation. Right now we are very comfortable. In fact, US economy is so strong and good. We are about under 3%. But all that loose money that is coming in, pumping, it has to find a way. Like inflation has to, in fact, that is what central bankers are most worried about it. When they have a chance, slowly they, keep increasing the rates, but they didn't go all the way to 5%, what 6% they wanted to. And because of COVID, again, the rates have come to zero. As a result, in future, inflation is a real danger. What does that mean? The thing we plan today at 3% may not be enough if the inflation is about 6%. So we need to budget for that. Taxes, we already covered how taxes are going to be huge. Now, typically, this is what the retirees do when they are in retirement, how they withdraw the money. They first go to Social Security, the first thing that is available for them at 62. Then all that funds that are available outside, they withdraw, and then they go to the retirement funds. Remember, the amount of money you are getting will be based on the taxes, and the taxes can be your regular income taxes or wealth taxes. Remember, long-term capital gains. So as you know, long-term capital gains is only 20%. This ordinary income, depending on what age group, what income bracket you are, can be pretty high. But what if I plan a significant portion of my income in a tax-exempt category? I don't need to worry about taxation that much if my source of income is tax-exempt, either in Roth or IOL or some other source. This is the information which most of you are already aware of this. These income brackets are going to go up pretty significantly in the near-term future. Again, try to see that a significant portion of your income comes from the long-term as well as tax-exempt category. Now, what are those income sources? In order to have the plan, one of the things we depend, of course, is Social Security, one leg. So let's see quickly what it is. You know that you are eligible to draw Social Security at 62. Now, those of you who are young may think that, oh, that's far into the future, I don't need to worry about it. Of course, you do need to, because it's the money you are paying in. Unless you pay attention today and plan accordingly, then you are just paying, you are not able to get anything out of it. But again, those of you, just like me, in the next 10 years, we will be in that situation, is at 62, you are eligible to apply for the Social Security benefits. But look at this, 70%. And then at 67, it is 100%. If you think I'll get 70% today, and when I'm 67, I'll get 100%, you're mistaken. Social Security benefits, once applied for, you will be locked into it for the lifetime. One more time. If you apply for Social Security at 62, you are locked in at 70% of the benefits. That means if your full benefits are at $3,000, 70% of that, 2,100, is logged in for your lifetime. Whereas if you wait until 67, you get that $3,000 for lifetime. But if you wait a little longer, you get 124 or 130%, depending on the way they change. So what does that mean? In fact, we have a full-fledged, it's the ocean again. How between the couple, depending on at what age you, at 62 to waiting till 70 or so, depending on managing filing for the benefits between wife and husband, the difference in their lifetime is 500 each, 500K each. That is $1 million during the lifetime from 62 to, if the couple lives to 87. That's a significant amount. Okay, so we need to pay attention to that. Now, this is how much taxes are this. A lot of people think Social Security is not taxable. Sorry, Social Security is taxable up to 50% if your income is below this, and up to 85%. What does that mean? That means the income you are getting through Social Security is added up to your overall income, and then your tax bracket is determined. And if it is more than 34%, 85% of your Social Security benefits is taken for to compute the taxes. Now, this is a simple example of how much of taxation that is impacted and all. As I mentioned previously, your withdrawal in the retirement, the sources where you withdraw funds from for your living benefits, will really determine how long your nest egg, your wealth will last. A lot of people do the mistake of just filing for Social Security right order. That's not the case. That should not be. So you plan in such a way you can wait a little longer to at least get 100%. And then look at this. Withdrawal order has to be first your taxable assets, then your tax deferred assets, those 401ks, IRAs and all, then your tax exempt, the Roth or IULs and all. Why? Because the longer the assets remain tax deferred or tax free, the more after tax cash flow you will have guaranteed in the retirement age as the years go by. So remember that if you're having 100K or $1 million in 401k and brokerage account, by not touching 401k, you are allowing that 401k to grow tax deferred. Same thing with Roth. You are allowing that completely tax exempt, and you are drawing down whatever the brokerage account you have, right? Remember that. Now, if you think this is what the bucket is, and your budget part of it, you have certain needs. About $5,000 is pure needs. I need the $5,000 to, cover my basic needs. And then to travel and take care of kids or pamper the grandkids and all, I would love to have another 3,000, 5,000, whatever. If we can plan to take care of those basic needs with guaranteed income, without any whatsoever risk in that, that's the best scenario. Whatever may happen, my 5,000 adjusted for inflation at 3.5% or a little higher is covered by this guaranteed income, and I have a little surplus. Then the income that you can draw from your 401k or from your investment accounts or from somewhere else will be an icing on the cake, and it can cover all those wishes. So we need to ensure, whether it is your Social Security or build a pension portfolio. Again, pensions are not there. So we need to build that guaranteed income, which is not impacted by market volatility. That is what it is. That is a message. Now let's quickly change a little bit of gears. And this is going to be, healthcare is going to be a huge deal in retirement. In retirement, three things matter. One, you need to have shelter. You need to have a place. It has to be fully paid off. Please plan in such a way that you don't need to worry about mortgage payments. We can't escape property taxes. but as long as you are able to take care of that, and if that property taxes can be covered by a part of the rent or a rental home, that's all the more sweet. But at least you are covered their mortgage part. Second, your living expenses. The living expenses, most of them, the regular, what you call food requirement basic, they are not so expensive and they are to a great extent covered. The inflation is manageable. And then the third one is the biggest one, that is healthcare. Now, as we retire, these are the decision points that we go through. What are the decision points? Like at 55, if we decide to retire from 401k, we can withdraw funds at 55. I'm not saying you should, but if you plan to, if you have accumulated so much wealth, or if you're lucky to be one of those IPOs and the good companies to be in or whatever, you can withdraw money from your 401k at 55. At 59, you can withdraw from your tax deferred categories. And at 62, as I said, you are eligible for Social Security. But again, be cautious, pay attention that your benefits will be locked in for lifetime, but you are eligible at 62. And 65 is the age we are eligible for Medicare. In fact, we need to apply 3 months in advance, and the enrollment period is 3 months before to 3 months after. It's always the earlier is the better. 65 is the Medicare part of it. Then a full Social Security is 66 to 67. So we all should try to ensure, hold off on applying for Social Security at least until we get 100% of Social Security. Then you get 100% at maximum at 70 years. That is 124%, which I showed you. Then, of course, your required minimum distribution. That is, you have accumulated so much wealth, you have so much income coming in, you don't start withdrawing money from your 401ks. IRS is going to ask you, please do so. If not, whatever is the required minimum distribution, they are going to take, listen this, 50% of that is taxable. They take 50%. You don't even know that, okay, what happened here? Why is that? The IRS automatically computes and takes 50% of your required minimum distribution. Till 31st December, it was 70.5 years. This year, January 1st onwards, we passed a Secure Act. Based on that, this required minimum distribution age was increased to 72 years. So you can leave the money a little longer there to grow. But then there are other consequences also, other aspects of that Secure Act. One of the points which I would like to cover, the wealth that is accumulated in IRAs, when they are inherited by the kids, previously they could stretch to their lifetime. But after January 1st of this year, your kids will have 10 years to exhaust the funds, the wealth they acquired, they inherited through IRA accounts. Should something go wrong with us, that once again, the stretch limit is eliminated from lifetime to reduce to 10 years. So what does that mean? That means IRS would like to get their cut within 10 years instead of waiting for the lifetime. If our kids are also already doing very well, then they will have to pay huge amount of taxes while withdrawing from this IRA accounts they inherit. Now, these are the risks that we face before retirement: market loss and inflation, which we have seen. Okay, then in retirement, we have, these are the risks that we have: outliving our assets, which we covered; healthcare costs, which is huge; and inadequate income for surviving spouse. If we don't plan well, we may leave our spouse at a distinctly disadvantageous position. That is where we need to ensure that guaranteed income for as long as both the partners live. Now, healthcare, the private sector, this is what they have given. The the health insurance for the retired people is dwindling over a period of time. Sometime back, they used to have the healthcare even in retirement, but that is dwindling. So that's where we need to, what is this lines which have come? Okay, I don't know what that is. Bear with me. Again, the amount of, when people are asked about to estimate their health costs in the retirement, this is what about 5% of people need about 26,000 or more annually for their health costs. But look at the bottommost, about 60% said they don't know, they are not sure, and about 16% estimated highly inadequate, about $1,000 to $5,000 in retirement healthcare. So a whopping 76% underestimated or didn't have a clue how much it is going to cost in the retirement healthcare. Now, managing the healthcare cost is one of the most complex issues that we are facing today. And healthcare costs will be one of the most significant expenses in retirement. This is what it is. How it is impacting is 38% of people are having difficulty in paying the bills. 27% of 27% use of all or most of the savings, and 16% borrow money just to pay healthcare costs. Some more stats. 67% affluent people say they fear healthcare costs in their retirement. Okay. Second largest, that is again depending on where you are. If you pay off your home, that's fine, but across the country as such, this is second largest expense, next only to the home housing expense. And about 5.8% projected annual growth in insurance care. About, as I said, 6%, till 2025, it's about 5.8 is what they've got. Now, if you look at the medical expenses in the retirement, this is what it is going to look. 23% is out-of-pocket prescription drug expenses, and 32% of entire expenses you pay is for insurance, Medicare plan A and B, hospitalization, as well as doctors and the prescription, right? 45% of the expenses we pay is on account of copays and Medicare cost sharing. So as you can see, Medicare is not going to cover us 100%. About 50% of our expenses will still be paying out of pocket. So we need to plan for that. In fact, it is estimated about close to 400,000 will be the cost for a 65-year-old couple in the healthcare expenses. That's a huge deal in there. Now, healthcare expense, Medicare covers only about 62% of the overall expenses. So we are on the hook for 38%. 57% don't know if the long-term care is involved, covered or not in the Medicare, and 16% actually thinks it is covered. Here is the thing, long-term care, as again mentioned, I'll show you in a second. It is covered only for 100 days in one's entire lifetime by Medicare, 100 days. So if God forbid something goes wrong and we are in the nursing home for a longer time, we are on the hook. Now again, Medicare, it's a whole ocean again, Social Security and Medicare. Most of us are not there yet. It doesn't hurt to have an understanding of this so that we are prepared. Why is it important that, okay, I'm 30-year-old, I don't need to worry about Medicare, it's in the future, distant future. Sorry, we need to know, because when you wake up at 62 and you have no coverage, then you are not going to get coverage from the insurance companies, or otherwise you can't. It's going to be an expensive proposition. So especially for the youngsters, if we know that, we have the awareness that we are on the hook for almost 50% of medical expenses in the retirement, you can do something when you're young. Now, here is a huge deal. Medicare, if you see the hospitalization expenses, look at this. If you are after 60 days, essentially per day, up to 3 months, that is the third month, you're paying $341. And fourth month to fifth, you are paying $682. And after 150 days, all hospitalization costs are on you. That is how much it is, how huge it is. Now, these are the essentially high deductibles we have. Just a glance of how much Medicare Part B and Part D are going to, that is cost. Bottom line for us too, if it is good to know this number, it's roughly estimated today that about $8,000 is an annual expense just to have Medicare A, B, C. Actually, they have plans all the way to N, because A covers only hospitalization, B covers your doctor's visits and all, and then there's a prescription drug coverage. After that, the gap that is there, that is from 80% all the way to 100% co-pays and all that, you have plans all the way to N. So bottom line is, it is complicated. They have done, that's one of the beefs I have with the medical what do you call, policy in this country. For all the advancements, we are not able to take care of our population in the old age from the medical care, 100% part of it. In fact, even for the, so that's a huge debate. So given what it is up to us to plan and be covered and be safe. Now, this one I already mentioned, Medicare, you are eligible at 65. It's better that we do 3 months before, and it is better to be sooner than later, because they have some penalties if you don't. Now, we are covered about Social Security. We have talked a little bit about Medicare. And these are all the high-level macroeconomic factors that are going to impact. But I said one ticking time bomb is that long-term care. Let's see what quickly that is. Long-term care is the care you may need if you are unable to perform daily activities to live your life on your own. There are 6 daily activities from the time we get up from the bed, we go to the bathroom, we attend to nature calls, we take shower, we dress up, we move downstairs to eat, we eat, and we are able to hold continence. And in addition to this, any cognitive issues, memory losses, Alzheimer's, automatically qualifies you to, that means someone else need to take care of you. You are in need of external help to live your life. That is what is called long-term care. It can happen because of old age. It can happen because of accidents. It can happen because of any of the dreaded diseases. So it is estimated that 70% of the people will need help, long-term care for some part of their life. But unfortunately, not even 20% have planned for it. In Indian community, not even 2%, because we are new here. We are not accustomed to it. We have come from a society where we have family and friends and all those people to take care of us. Even there, things are changing, but at least that is the fabric we have. Here, it's not the case. We have to be taken care, attended to by someone else, that the medical profession. That is a huge expensive proposition. As a result, we need to plan for it. If we don't, this is what is the estimations. Today, in Bay Area or in the East Coast, an estimate is about 155K per annum for one person in the nursing home. Normally, when we end up in nursing home, it is for long-term care. It is estimated anywhere from 4 to 6 years of the time is what people will be spending in long-term care facility or nursing homes. So you do the math. By the time in the next 20 years, most of us may be looking at retirement, it is going to cost close to 300,000. So if you budget, assuming something goes wrong, and about 300K is what is the budget for per annum, average about 4 to 6, let's put 5 years, you're talking about 1.5 million. That's a huge, insane. What are you talking about? It's quite a possibility. Not that we will be there, but it doesn't hurt to be planned for it. That is what we need to be aware of it. There are solutions that are available, especially when we take action when we are young. When we are old, when we are all the way there, obviously nobody wants a bad risk, or they want to charge a super high premium for a bad risk. That's what we should be aware of. Now, there are some of these resources, which there are a ton of resources that are available online. We are all quite savvy and all. SSA.gov, Medicare.gov and all. So that is about a macro level, what do you call, topics and all. So next week, my plan is to cover at a personal level. Okay, now that we know that we need to have a plan, and we have to put it in place such a way that the plan works. And so what is that I need to do? How do I come up with a plan, and how do I execute it? How do I put it in place so that I don't need to worry about it? If there is some XYZ factors, I'm covering for my debt obligations, I'm covering for my income part of it, I'm covering for unforeseen events, and I'm covering for that extra money that is needed. So next week we'll be looking at what are the things. First and foremost, we need to know what are our projected living expenses. How much money do I pay? Do some trend analysis part of it. Is there a gap? If there is no gap, but you are ending up with a surplus, good thing. But then you may have a problem of higher taxation. So how do you plan that? How do you not pay what do you call excessive tax, but only your fair share of tax? I strongly believe that we have to pay our fair share, because whatever we are getting, civilized society runs on the fair share of taxes. But again, if I don't plan, if my ignorance is causing me to bleed, is not the right thing. Then depending on what kind of unforeseen events, how do we survive? How do we make our plan a little more stronger, bulletproof? Now, before I wind up, I would like to focus, take a few minutes on, this is what we need to do. Life is not about any one particular area. It's not enough if I have a big chunk in a brokerage account. It is a comprehensive planning. I often say that it is a pie chart. There are different segments in the pie chart. We need to take care of each one of them. First and foremost, for example, estate planning. We are all here in this country. We know that we need to do this. What is estate planning? It is the plan you put in place so that should something go wrong, then you are telling the government, this is what will happen. You create a trust, it's a legal entity. You decide about the trustees who will be managing that trust and who will be guardians for your children, and who will be taking decisions based on the will you put in place, including the advanced medical directive. Why is it needed? In the absence of it, to protect your own children, government will send the kids to foster care. They will, your wealth will go into what is called court-appointed judge probate, and they will decide. If you don't want that, you have your brother, sister, or somebody next, and you know that they do the job. That is where it is important that we put complete this estate planning and have a trust and decide on the will. It is also serves certain other purposes, how it shields from certain liabilities and litigations and all. So if it is, there is a session where a few weeks back I've gone quite a detail. I hope to do it in future sometime later. So pay attention. If this you have not done that, please put it on your calendar to do it in the next 2 to 3 months and get it out of the way. Otherwise, you are risking certain. It's not that it will have. It's about being prepared is what the message is. Then protecting your life, your assets, whether it's real or financial, and long-term care, which we already covered about. Again, talking about growth, longevity, how long and how we build this income into the retirement, which covers long, life ahead. And about college planning. College planning here till 12th grade is free. Suddenly it becomes super expensive. We are not, it has become really so expensive that there's a problem. We are preparing for a burger flipper society rather than doctors and engineers, only people who can afford. So you need to plan for that. There are strategies. A lot of people are aware of 529s, but 529 has its place for people with a lot of income, wealth. There's no other escaping but that. Otherwise, there are other strategies which we can talk about it. Yesterday, actually, there was a very good session. In future, we'll be having more. And tax, again, taxation. Tax now or tax you defer it in your retirement accounts, or you are able to build 100% tax exempt wealth. You need to know what is the advantage, what are the limitations of each of these categories. Then, of course, risk and reward. What kind of risk you can take? How do you manage risk? Do you completely avoid the risk, or you kind of manage it, or you transfer that to someone else? We talk about that, especially different strategies. on managing the risk for your investment portfolios. So these are the different categories. These are the different educational topics I cover. And if you're interested, please do contact me. There are different topics and different areas and I am looking for people who are interested in this kind of knowledge and who have passion for it, who have interest in sharing this kind of information in your own sphere of influence. Please get in touch with me. Now, this is me. There are, for all the people attending today, you have an opportunity to have a free complimentary personal financial strategy. What is that? I spend about 2 to 3 hours. It's essentially about your financial physicals. If we are diligent, we are going to have medical physicals once a year. A lot of people are not even doing that. If you are one of them, please do so. But financial physicals, not even 5 years, 10 years. Okay, I have a 401k which is on autopilot, but is that it? What about the other landmines? We have seen the different areas. So I'll be covering entire scenarios and I'll be coming up with a proper plan and showing you whether you have, based on the trend analysis, whether you have a gap or you have a surplus, and how to, cover the gap. If you have a surplus, how to manage the taxation and all that. This is the information. Please do get in touch. Now I open the session for question answers. Please go ahead. Anyone, any questions?
Ajad, I have a question on Social Security. You said, if you withdraw, early stage, then, you may lose some of the benefits. I'm not getting clearly there. So could you please elaborate, how to deal that one?
Okay. So Social Security, if you are at 62, all of us, once we get 40 credits, meaning in a year there are 4 credits you get. If you work for 10 years, then you get 40 credits. Again, the amount of Social Security pension you will get depends on how many years you have worked and how much you have contributed. The max, I think, is about 132K is what they charge on Social Security taxes part of it. So they compute that based on that. So assuming you have whatever 20 years you work, 30 years, at 62, you are based on their computations, your full security, Social Security is decided as, they come up with a computation as, say, $5,000 per month. If you claim at 62, you are for lifetime logged at 70% of that 5,000, 3,500 for lifetime. You may get increase of the inflation, which is for common for everybody, but you are compromising that additional money because you are claimed 4 years ahead of the schedule, ahead of full retirement benefit.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if based on 2 people working, how do you file, who is younger, who is, so there's a whole lot of knowledge base, and you need to contact people in advance before you do that. So be sure to, contact people. Be sure to educate yourself. Any other questions?
Hi, Azad. This is Karthik. I saw in one of the slides that you mentioned about Roth savings. So I have a question. I'm in a dilemma whether to choose a Roth IRA or traditional. So my approach is that after the research that I have done, I decided to open a traditional IRA instead of Roth, because with Roth, I'm just wasting my tax money. Instead, with traditional, I have a chance to invest that tax money, and hopefully by the time I retire, that might grow more. So what is your suggestion on Roth versus traditional?
There are no doubts. There should never be any doubt between Roth and a regular IRA. If you have a chance to invest in Roth, that is hands down, that is what you will do. But unfortunately, all of us who are present, most of the people may not be eligible to invest too much money into that, because most of the IT people fall in the higher bracket. So you are ending up with depending on your personal situation, what is your income level, whether you are a regular employee or whether you are independent, business person, and whether your company has a 401k, a Roth 401k available, or you are talking about just a Roth IRA. Each individual situation changes. So one bottom line is, if you are eligible for Roth, go ahead and invest in Roth. That's it. Because you are okay. From the point of, for example, somebody may counter me immediately saying, okay, I'm not getting any tax benefit now. So that's what you need to compute. Are you okay to pay whatever 18 to 20% tax that you are in now in trading off to a lifetime tax exempt growth? In fact, today is the best time in this last couple of months for anybody who wants to roll over from a regular IRA to Roth IRA based on your income levels, how beaten down your IRAs are, to roll over either fully in one go, depending on how much money you have, or in chunks in different years to Roth IRAs, thereby just pay that little bit of taxes without any penalties. And when the markets are coming back, your money in the Roth is growing much better rate without any obligation to pay taxes in future. So again, all these things you need to sit and work with your CPF.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi, Azad. This is Venu. Can you hear me?
Hey, Venu, good to see you. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you. Good to see you too.
Go ahead.
I have a quick question. In your presentation, you mentioned about kids having 10 years to exhaust IRA. And can you give more information on what you meant in that?
Correct. This year, January 1st, Congress passed what is called a Secure Act. Essentially, one of the salient points in a few of them are the required minimum distribution, as I covered. Instead of 70.5, they increased it to 72. So people in the retirement having too much money, they're not forced to withdraw at 70.5, but they can wait so that they can postpone the taxation to that. This next one, a huge big deal for most of us. Why do I say that? I, for one, believe strongly that Indians are wealth builders. We have this given tradition, like in our psyche mindset. It's not we are living for ourselves. We want to build wealth, and that wealth will be going to kids. So previously, before the 1st of January, kids, for example, we changed, say, half a dozen jobs after coming here. And the first 5 jobs, now you are at Verizon, basically the previous ones, if you had old 401ks, hopefully you have rolled all of them into your IRA, one IRA, not multiple. Why is that? Again, that's a different IRA. Anytime you are changing jobs, ensure that you roll over your 401ks, old 401ks into IRAs. 2 reasons. Your old company has no interest in you. Even if they allow you, IRAs give you much better control on where and how you invest. And here is this. Should something go wrong, IRAs gives the ability, based on what it is, to pass on the estate over a period of time to your kids. 401ks immediately vest and kids get it right off. So these are the different reasons that if you have old 401ks, roll them into your IRA. Now coming back to what is so assuming during all those old 401ks, you transferred them into your IRA and you are able to build a significant wealth in the IRA. If something goes wrong, again, if it is about 2 people, wife or husband, if they are there, they get the control part of it. But if it is inherited, should something go wrong, is inherited by kids, then prior to 31st of January, kids could stretch that withdrawal for their entire lifetime. Assuming they have good incomes now, they can postpone, and when they don't have incomes, tap into this inherited IRA to withdraw some money. But today, they have 10 years to exhaust that. Assuming there's a $2 or $3 or $5 million in that IRA, and your kids like already into good jobs, they're drawing, making about 300,000-400,000 annum. Their tax bracket is already higher. By withdrawing an additional amount from inherited IRA, they are going to pay much more taxes. So IRS wants this, their cut within 10 years, fair share, than waiting for kids' lifetime. Am I clear?
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, so what do we do about it? We need to build wealth in such a way, we transfer certain wealth, amount of wealth, we build wealth in kids' name right from the beginning, so that there are multiple things, so there are estate tax as well as this kind of what do you call inherited IRS limits and all, we try to save. If we are able to be in such a situation, it's good, and we should do that.
Hey Azad, this is Sam Palisamy here.
Hi, Sam.
Hi. This is related to the same, the 401k getting transferred after the estate planning to the kids within 10 years, you mentioned, right?
Not 401k, I said inherited IRAs.
Okay. But they, instead of cashing it out, is it, or there is an option to append to their 401k or their retirement plan?
That's what I'm saying. So anything from the parents, it is inherited, and they have to do that. There's no other way of transitioning. So you do that transfer of wealth in a different way, not from your IRA.
What I mean is, instead of paying, I mean, kids paying huge penalty before or within 10 years if they take it out, can they put that into their retirement?
No, that's what they have plugged that loop. There is no such thing as they can put it in there and they're not. It is inherited. They need to exhaust that inherited one, and they need to pay those taxes in 10 years.
Okay. There is no rollover kind of thing.
No, that is what it is. They previously, it was a lifetime, they plugged that loophole, or whatever you want to, however you want to look at it. So bottom line is this: government has given what? They have given tax break for the individuals, so that encouraging you to save for your retirement, and you accumulated so much wealth without paying a penny on that. And now you're telling me that I wait for another 100 years for your kids. That is what the logic from the point of government or IRS.
Okay. Thank you, Asad.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Okay, I'll give 2 more minutes. Anybody? Last couple of questions. Next week, as I said, I'll be covering how do you build your own individual retirement plan, which is solid, strong.
Azad, this is Karthik again. I quite didn't catch the benefits of estate planning, because for all the accounts that I currently have, I have added my wife as a beneficiary. So is that not enough? Should I do something more, or will estate planning provide me something more beneficial than just adding her as a beneficiary?
Yeah, beneficiary is the first thing one should do, whether it is your 401ks or IRAs and all that, any accounts, bank accounts. What does a beneficiary account, what does it do? Should something go wrong to us, it goes to your wife. Now, I'm just, what happens if both of us go? Like, then what happens? My kids are underaged, they're not prepared. And did you guys come across this Indian couple, very young couple in Frisco, Texas, 2 months back? They moved there a couple of years back. They moved their home, and they bought a brand new home, and they were going to their that housewarming on that day. And along with those wife and husband, their family friend, 3 people died. It is within 1 mile of their rental property to their home, leaving in the back 8-year-old daughter. Hopefully they have done some estate planning and somebody there to take care of. Should something go wrong, as I said, your underage kids will be in foster care. Your wealth will be in what you call court appointed judge probate. So in order to avoid, what does that mean? The judge will then take care of going into, okay, who needs to get custody of child, the wealth should be distributed how, and again, when the kid comes of age at 18, entire wealth will be given to the kid. Do you think our kids will be ready to manage entire estate and wealth at 18? Or do you think they need to complete their education and maybe probably around 25, 30? So by putting this trust, you are talking to three of your trusted people, family members or friends, and then you're talking to them in advance saying, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. Can you be trustees of my trust? Will you be up to the challenge? Can you be guardians to my kid? And will you be able to take those decisions based on the will I'm putting? After having that agreement with your three trusted people, not one, not two, but three. One is risky again. Two, if they don't agree, then there's a problem. That's why three, I say, they have to be here. Because if you have somebody from India, if there is some situation, there are different legal issues that go on. So have them from here. Otherwise, they'll have to come all the way here to attend the sessions and all that with the court and all. So that is what we are trying to avoid. By having a trust in place and having your will, which talks about how it should happen, you are avoiding such a scenario.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Contact me, put it on your calendar. If you need help with any referral and all, contact me. I can guide you with one of my business partners.
Sure, I'll do that. Thank you.
Any other question?
Yeah, Azad Vignesh here. One quick question about this estate planning. So you mentioned that 2-3 people, how that, is there any order it will work or how it will be?
No, they're together, they'll be deciding basically.
Oh.
They will be the trustees. You actually can select while putting it in place. That specific question is there, individually or collectively. So if you can say, you can mention in that.
Okay. Okay. And you also said that they should be here in US itself, is it?
Yes. See, that's what the legality point. Tomorrow something goes wrong, somebody has to come from India, attend to this, and also if your kid is US citizen and they want to take them back to your, what do you call, right off the bat too, without you specifying what it is, those are some of the legal angles which you are going to avoid. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, Ajay, this is Meg. I have a question on will and trust. So, I mean, if you nominate somebody to manage the bank accounts, everything, and if they are not good, and also we don't know, so I mean, the money will change anybody. So, if something goes wrong, so that time is problems. Is there any possibility saying that it is required to withdraw only the amount needed for kids' education? And once they cross 18 or 25, then hand over to them. So is there any possibility like that in the will and trust?
That is what you are going to specify in the will. In the will, you will specify my kids are right now whatever, and XYZ, who are the people. My wish is this: they need to, they have to go to college. The funds for this comes from my estate at this, and after getting through the college, they need to complete their whatever job, or and at 25 years they get 50% of the estate. And once they're married and once they're 30 or whatever you specify, at 30 they'll get full control of the estate. That is what you specify there.
Okay, but the whoever the nominating, so the trustee or somebody, so they don't have authority to withdraw before that. I mean, so sometimes I don't know, so I'm confusing mode. So
no, basically you give the authority for the living expenses. They can withdraw whatever that is needed. But
okay.
yeah, it's not that you have bank account and without withdrawing they can support your kids for their living expenses. You specify that, and they will have the authority and all. Then other estate and all comes into picture when they liquidate, or how they do it and when it comes and all that.
Okay, thank you, Ajay. Thank you.
Okay.
So Asad, I had a question. To buy long-term care, would they look only at the age, or would they look at other parameters like your health condition?
Okay. So long-term care, By itself you can buy, and you can couple with couple of other options. And there are a couple of solutions that are available where you build a tax-free wealth as well as cover the long-term care. So coming back to how it is defined, if you buy a pure long-term care, it's more expensive compared to combining with your wealth building other vehicles. How the charges are going, what will work best when you are young, when your health is pristine, works beautifully. Does that mean if I'm old or if I have a something I can't take it? Of course not. I can, but it's going to cost more. Say compared to me at 55, where I am, I'm knocking here. I don't have sugar, BP, cholesterol, any of that. But I have one liver enzyme. My doctor says that is nothing. SGPT at 60 instead of 55. 61, 6 points. But the insurance company says, oh, it is beyond our metrics, I mean the profile. So we'll only give you standard rating instead of preferred rating. As it is, my age is a disadvantage. So they are going to charge much, much higher. So for people like me, there is a different other solution where purely I cover only based on, I have a liquid cash sitting someplace, I cover only the long-term care part of it. So it depends on one's age and one's health condition and the time horizon we have. Most importantly, how much money you can invest to build that tax exempt growth without market risk and all. Is that clear?
Yeah, it is clear.
Okay.
Azad, this is Karthik again. I promise this will be my last question.
No worries. Go ahead.
Yeah, so in the slide number 60, the financial classes slide, I saw under investments, the second point, you mentioned something about cash value life insurance. Mm-hmm. So what is this? Because today I gave a medical for my 20-year life insurance. I am opening it now. So it's a term life that I opted for. So is this cash value life insurance different? Should I switch to this one, or can I stay with term? What is
basically that's what I do in my what do you call the free personal financial strategy. Before you jump and take anything, you need to look at comprehensively what is that you need, what is the need analysis. Okay, do you have proper coverage, and how is your investments built? So based on that, so from the point of the term what you have, if you're doing a 20-year, that what's your age?
31.
Yeah, that is not the right thing at all for you. So please, let's take it offline, because it's a very personalized one. You will have to cover your basic protection part of it. And at 31, you are such a prime age. You are one of the ideal, segment who can build very beautiful wealth over a long period of time, along with long-term care as well as life coverage and all that. So please, let's get offline touch and then we can talk.
Sure, I'll contact you.
Okay. All right, anyone else?
Another question I had is, does long-term care covers your life insurance as well? Is it packaged?
Yeah, that's what it is. You have different solutions based on your individual profile. So for you covered all your bases. Now you came to know about only long-term care, then you can just take long-term care. But you have not done comprehensive planning, then along with life, you can cover long-term care while building the wealth. So that is especially if you are 45 and under, you need to look at that, because you have 20-year profile. Even for up to 50, it's fine. You can do that. You need to be a little more aggressive in investing. You can build wealth as well as do that. But if you are anybody below 45, you can do all this combined as a comprehensive planning. Put in that plan to work for you.
Okay, thank you, Azad.
Yeah. So one last question, anybody? Otherwise, we'll wind up. Okay, if you are talking, you are on mute.
So Ajay, will you share this recording video so that we can listen one more time and we can rewind ourselves if we miss something?
Yeah, basically I will be able to talk any amount of time, and one-on-one we'll be able to share, or in future you can attend. But I was clearly advised by my legal advisor saying we cannot share this outside because it can be, for example, in the session you have seen, there's a disclaimer, there's other, because if I share it, it can be used without any context. So I'll not be able to share the deck, but I'll be too happy to talk to you, or in future sessions cover the same topics again.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll wind up unless anybody has a question. Next week, I'm going to talk about how to design your own retirement plan, covering all the bases. Okay, thanks once again for spending your Sunday afternoon with me. Hope it was useful. If you think so, drop a line, send me an email. It will, and any specific topic that you may want to cover in future sessions, or you have individual questions on, I'll be too happy to get in touch with you and answer them. Thanks a lot. Have a great rest of the week. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Azad.
Bye.
Thank you all.